So I had a pretty amazing experience out on the flat this week. The front end of a thunderstorm, I had two different funnel clouds touch down briefly. And I wish I'd have got my drone up sooner. This one was awesome. It came down and then picked up this big cloud of debris and was swirling, and that was kind of the tail end of it there. But I'd never experienced that before in Utah. It's cool to see, a little bit scary. But anyway, I'll get into fishing. So went out again today with my Sage Maverick, using my Cortland Big Fly, 12-foot 1X tapered leader. I started with 4 feet of 10-pound fluoro. I ended up cutting that off as the wind kicked up and it became hard to manage that length of leader. And then a carp maul and a BS. Crystal clear water. Most of this stuff is less than a foot. This is an area just off the Great Salt Lake that provides some of the best sight fishing. The first shot there, dropped it in on that fish. He came over and he actually put it way too close to him. But at this point I was using an unweighted fly. So I got away with putting it too close. Didn't matter, I ended up missing the fish anyway. So second shot here, this fish is kind of coming off these weeds right here, and I'm waiting for him to drop off the edge. That's what I'm trying to time it for that. The weeds that he's in right there, if you drop your fly in there, a lot of times you're gonna get hung up. So the plan was to get it right there as he came off. So I let him, waiting for him to come off, and then he immediately turned and ate it. And that's something to keep in mind on this is when carp are in these weed bed areas, I mean, you can catch them on the weed beds, and I've got a few videos where I do, but it increases the difficulty a ton. Every one of these fish were solid mirrors, most of them in the 10-pound range. But my favorite thing about this place is just it's crystal clear, and there are these sections with really light sand, which makes the sight fishing just incredible. It's an area that's a little bit difficult to get to. I don't get out there a ton, but one of my favorite spots to go and target, sight fishing for big carp and just clear water over light bottom. It's heaven. So great trip. A couple cool shots here. These two carp kind of come together and the one slows down. I let him and did a little bit of a drag and drop here, pulled it over. He kind of went past it, but as I pulled it back, he came over and actually ate it right there. I strip set and missed him, and then he swam off. He was pretty wary, I think, with the other carp in the area. So this is another one where I did a little bit of a drag and drop, pulled it over to the other side of him here. Came right in front of him there. You see him turn and come over. And he actually sucks for just a second, but he changes his mind before the fly gets in his mouth. You'd actually see it hanging on the side of his face for just a second. And then, so didn't connect with that one, but kind of a cool shot. Another drag and drop right here. You see he sucked it. Again, this is another one that for just a second, he was gonna eat it, and then he changed his mind. So didn't connect with that one either. So this, we got this massive wind. It was probably 25-mile-per-hour wind right here. So the nice thing is, like, you can get pretty close to the carp, but it was tough here. So, like, to try to get a fly on the water and get in front of it, I ended up having to pull the drone down for a little while after this shot. But I mean, this was a simple drag and drop. You can see how the waves here, this is right against the edge from the direction the wind are coming, and it's picking up waves already. This was howling wind. But anyway, in that situation, when you got wind like that, it does create a ton of cover for you, both from a visual standpoint and a noise standpoint. So I cut my leader down here, was able to perform a much closer cast, a shorter drag and drop. Accuracy, still important, got it right in front of him, and then he immediately ate. And again, this is another pretty nice mirror. So this is a situation where this carp he was just buried into those weed beds there, and as he comes up and he starts moving, he's still eating. That becomes a good opportunity to take a shot here. So a little bit longer drag and drop here, pulled it in front of him, and then he comes forward a little bit and eats it, and we connect. So you can see where the other one was sitting right there. there's really no way to get the fly in front of them when they've got their head right in a weed like that. So you really got to let them come past that before you try to take your shot. And that's what I did there. And then I was able to connect with this fish. This was the first of 3 fish that I actually ended up hooking that ended up going and getting buried enough into the weeds that they were able to bust the 10-pound fluoro. So this right here, the fish breaks me off. So yeah, I lost 3 flies. I don't do that very often, but that's okay. It was a fun trip anyway. This one's more of a classic cruising fish. Just simple drag and drop here. Split the leader in half, cast halfway past the fish, pulled it over, dropped it down. See it come in there just on the other side of the weed bed, and then the fly comes right in front of it there. Turns just a smidge, and then I connect. Now, I've talked before about how it's a little bit better to have the fly a little bit further to the sides than that, than straight in front. And this is, again, one of the mistakes I make a lot. I mean, it's great that it's that accurate and right in front of the fish, but it's really hard to tell when the eat is. So if you're a little bit further to the side, it's a little bit easier to see. Having said that, it's still well executed. I don't know. If you can, put it a slightly further to the side just so you see it. And then you'll a lot of times have a slightly better angle on the hook set. In that particular instance, because of the angle it was coming in at, the angle was actually really good. So connected, and again, another nice mirror. So this is another weed bed shot. Again, you could kind of see him in the thicker weeds here, and then he comes over into this little bit more of an open area. So that's when I cast to him in there. Now, I can't see my fly here, and this one, look, I drop it in, and I don't know, it's 6 inches, 8 inches, probably 6 inches from his head right there. And I let it sit for a little while. And then I start to twitch it here, but look at that. He was coming to eat it, and I pulled it away from him. So I didn't connect that one. That one's totally on me. Yeah. And I'm not sure exactly why I kept twitching it, but I pulled it completely away from him, but he was totally going to eat it there. So I blew that one. This is another weed bed shot. Weed beds, they're just, it adds a lot of complication. You end up getting, a lot of snags, pick up a lot of junk when you're fishing this kind of stuff. The carp love these areas, so they do tend to come out into these areas and spend a lot of time. So this one right here is similar to the last one. You can see he's in the weed bed right there. Can't see real well. And I just sped it up a little bit. You see, I have to wait for him to come out. And then I twitch it to get his attention. And this time I didn't pull it out of his mouth. This is a different fish. Same general area. Well, it might be the same fish, actually. I don't know. That other one kind of moved out and around after I pulled it away from it. But anyway, another solid fish, but another one that busts me off. And that happens a lot in these weed beds. They go get wrapped in those weed beds, and they end up busting off here. So this one's coming straight at me. This is a classic drag and drop scenario. I talk about the best angles are from 90 degrees to straight towards you. This one is fairly close to straight towards me. So I cast in there. You see it just to the left a little bit. Pull it over in front of him and drop it in. And move it just a little bit, and right there he dove on it and ate it. We connected. On this light bottom, I mean, you can find areas in the places that you target carp that have light bottoms like this. And this is special, and they're hard to find, but man, it just creates such a great experience for targeting carp. Feels like bone fishing. I love bone fishing. I love carp fly fishing. I love bone fishing. But this just makes it feel a lot like bone fishing when you find bottoms like this. This last shot was right before I saw the 2 funnel clouds and decided to call it a day. Again, you can kind of see the way my shirt's whipping there. I mean, it is howling the wind straight at my back here. And I had a couple fish. You see me, I turn away right there for just a second. I had it in an area um, where I could see a carp. It was there were several in there and it kind of was muddy. So I was just kind of stripping it through. And then this one came over and ate it. Did get this one in. This was probably the best one I caught of the day. Beautiful mirror here. Yeah, just cool. And there's kind of an overhead shot of this area. I mean, it's the middle of the desert, way out in the West Desert, Utah. Just a kind of a cool spot to go chase carp. Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it. If you haven't, please like and subscribe.